Hello everyone, Loser YT here, and today I'm going to be doing a tier list on video. This is going to be a tier list of Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee for the Nintendo GameCube and the OG Xbox. Everything here is based on my opinion, or something like that, whatever it is, how you say it. But yeah, everything said here is my opinion, and if you have your own tier list and you disagree or agree, that's fine. But anyway, might as well start. So first up is Anguirus. D tier. Anguirus is probably the worst kaiju in the game. He's not great. You can abuse his speed, like his roll if you want, like if you want to just kind of get out of the way and stuff. He's not easy to hit with atomic breath because of how small he is. The only way you could actually hit him is if you're aiming down, like with your C stick or whatever you're using. I'm just gonna say like C stick and stuff because I play on the GameCube version. But anyway, Anguirus' grab is very pathetic. You don't get really any distance. He's got really short range. If you miss, you're gonna get punished by any move in the game. And it has like Anguirus' his scream is pretty good if you want to stun your opponent for a little bit. His rage is, it's alright. That's all I could say. His rage is alright. He's okay. He's got arguably one of the best defense in the game, or that's how it is in Save the Earth. Because of his spiky back, if you hit it, you're gonna get, like, you'll take damage and you'll get stunned for a little bit. And that's also what makes him a little hard to counter on the ground, like when he's like down on the ground and his spikes, like if he's like on his belly, not like on his back, because if he's on his back he can't do anything. But yeah, Anguirus D tier. Alright, next is Destroya, instant S tier, or SS tier. Definitely the best kaiju in the game. Destroya is very strong. His variable slicer covers a huge amount of spacing. You can either do it normally, like he can dash forward with it, or he can just hit you on the ground with it. It's got insanely long range. It's spammable. It does it's very strong, a lot of damage, and you can do a ridiculous combo. Like you can grab someone, you can go near the green wall, you can press the roar or the grab button that makes him fling someone backwards with his tail. You can press the Z button to launch his like micro oxygen ball thing, which brings enemies in closer, then explodes them. Then you can variable slicer them, and that's an insane combo. Destroya's beam is pretty decent. It keeps your opponent. It doesn't knock them away. It kind of just sucks them in a little bit. I don't think his melee is too great, especially for his like kick, but his variable slicer, if he gets like an energy power up, he can spam variable slicer for as long as he wants. Destroya is very good. Best kaiju in the game. Next up is my main Gigan. I'm gonna put Gigan. It's in between. I'm gonna put him in S tier. Gigan is definitely very good. He's got the most powerful rage in the game, no doubt. Because if you hit people with it like correctly, you get multi-hits and you can take a large number of health away. Probably leaving them with like maybe a quarter or a little bit of health left, which is very strong. It's not like Save the Earth where you send someone flying into the air and it takes a while for them to get back down. It's like they get sent like backwards or something, like forward, backwards. They don't get shot into the air. Gigan's beam is alright. His visor kind of beam where you tab Z is pretty good if an opponent's on the ground, because it'll be a multi-hit move. His normal spin attack is alright. His grabs are pretty decent. His teleport can be useful. His buzzsaw in the air doesn't really like to work, unless that's how I see in the shift of fight, like Destroya, Ghidorah. Gigan's melee is not too great. Well, it's okay, it's just not too good. Unless it's, I don't know. Gigan's pretty good, I'll say that. Next up we have Godzilla 2000 and Godzilla 90s. These guys are beginner friendlies, and I'm going to put them in well, I'll put them in A tier. These guys are beginner friendlies. You start off with Godzilla 90s though. You gotta get Godzilla 2000 by completing adventure mode with 90s. Unlike Anguirus, these guys have the same moveset, same rage, same like speed. The only difference is model and their atomic breath color. Godzilla 2000s is orange, 90s is blue. And because, you know, they've got the same rage, 90s doesn't have his finishing breath. He has the stomp ability thing, whatever it is. These guys are pretty decent. They have the fireball, which can be a little helpful. In starts of matches where you want to pick up a building, and someone's probably about to interrupt you can just shoot a fireball at them, and pick up a building and then throw it at them, probably lead it into some stupid combo. You can definitely do a lot of good combos with 90s and 2000. They're very strong. Well, they're decently strong. Like I said, these guys are beginner friendlies, and so they're good for beginner players, and they're still pretty good for people who are skilled. Kingdor. I'll put him in S tier. Kingdor is a hard kaiju to fight, because this is the first kaiju on this tier list right here that can fly. He can fly, and one thing to note that's probably worth mentioning, flyers do drain stamina or energy when they're flying, but if Ghidorah is active, like sometimes when you start a match, Ghidorah will, like sometimes when you start up a match, randomly Ghidorah can spawn, and it's called smog mode. It makes it so your energy doesn't refill as quick unless Ghidorah disappears or you just beam a Ghidorah. With flyers, it actually gives them an advantage because you can camp in the air for as long as you want, and this is especially useful with Rodan. Anyway, Kingdor has wind, he's got gravity beams in the air, which is pretty useful. His rage is alright. It's kind of like he goes in one spot, he fires wind and gravity beams, and he just kind of circles around. It's not a locking on move, but it's still pretty decent if you're in the right spot. His grabs are pretty nice. He can grab with his tail, so if someone's behind you, you can just grab them with his tails and throw them. You can just throw them away. His two grabs are like he either slams you into the ground or he'll throw you up in the air, use two of his left and right head to bonk you, and then use the entire heads just to fling you into the air. And attacks that can really fling you in the air, you can follow up with beams when they're on the ground. Kingdor I don't know if Kingdor really has a weakness. Like, if you're using someone who has a good ground attack, like Godzilla 90s or 2000, he doesn't get shot in the air when you do the tail. Instead, he kind of he gets stunned, which is what kind of makes him a little difficult to fight, in my opinion. Heisei Mechagodzilla, or just Mechagodzilla 2, I'm gonna put definitely SS tier with Destroya. He is, in my opinion, he's the second hardest kaiju to unlock. If I remember correctly, you gotta beat adventure mode with Rodan, Mecha King Ghidorah, and Destroya, and how you unlock them, I think, actually, I don't remember how you get Rodan. I think Rodan was after Mecha King Ghidorah. I think. I don't remember. I have not unlocked these kaiju in years. And then Mecha King Ghidorah, I think he's unlocked by Heisei King Ghidorah, or just King Ghidorah, or whatever. And Destroya is unlocked by Godzilla 2000. And then you get this dude. Very strong. Tapping Z, he gets like missiles, like a ton of missiles launches at you that do a lot of damage. Even when blocked, I don't think you can even block them. They do ridiculous amounts of damage. You can spam them, you get 3. Every time you get an energy power up, you get 1 back. And he can hover. He's got a beam, which is decently strong. It ain't the longest range in the game though. He also has a dash ability where he just uses his thrusters and all of that. His damage is pretty high, and his defense and armor is insane. Like, it's not easy to stun this dude. His armor is just that good. And I think if you try to punch him, I think, like, with someone who's got, like, a kaiju that has ridiculous armor, like Mechagodzilla, I think your hand just gets stunned. Like, your hand will get hurt or something like that. I do not remember at all. Basically, Mechagodzilla is, like, he's definitely one of the best. Now, Kiryu, I don't know anything about Kiryu. I don't play the Japanese version of the GameCube game because I don't own a Japanese GameCube, and I'm not going to just to play the game again. And I don't own an OG Xbox, so I don't know anything about Kiryu. He does seem to be just a clone of Mechagodzilla, so I'll just put him in SS tier with him. I'll just put him in, I'll put him in SS tier. I don't know anything about him, so I can't really say anything. I think the only difference is Mechagodzilla's, this one's Rage, he does like a barrage of attacks, and he has a plasma laser. And this one, he's got rockets, and he's got his Absolute Zero, which doesn't freeze in this game. I don't know really anything about Kiryu, so I think I'm just gonna put him in S tier. I think that's a better. Mecha Kingdor. I find Mecha Kingdor a lot better for his stun ability and his shield. His shield, if you block thrown objects or beams, you can recover a little bit of health. I don't think his gravity beams are any stronger. I think they're just the same, but he has a stun ability, which is like kind of like you have 3 of them. If you hit it properly, a kaiju would be stunned for like 3 seconds, lose all their energy, and you can punish them. I think you have well over enough time to use your beam as well, like fully charged, which is ridiculous. Mecha Kingdor isn't any different from Kingdor in this game than he is in Save the Earth, so he's almost the same. And Mecha Kingdor is definitely a lot better in my opinion because of his armor. Megalon, okay, I don't know. I think Megalon is kind of a C mech kaiju. Although, if you are skilled and you know what you're doing, Megalon can be pretty good, like an A tier somewhere. I'm just not great with them. I think if Stick Kid made a tier list, he'd probably put Megalon in like A tier. He's really good with Megalon. Every time we battle, he's a Megalon main. He's very good with Megalon. He knows how to play him. He knows about the digging, he knows about the grabs. He's okay in my opinion. The digging does take energy. I think you can dash to make it faster, which will take more energy. And like Smog mode, I think you just don't take as much. But like if you can jump over it if you want, if someone's trying to jump over and you're trying to catch them, that's gonna be a real challenge. He can fire a spit, whatever it was, like one of those red things. He can fire those like fireballs at himself, whatever they were, create fire on the ground, which if someone steps on it, it'll hurt them and it'll like make them like the animation where you step on their foot. But this can also affect Megalon. His beam's alright. It's not really long ranged. I think it's a little bit maybe a little bit longer than Destroya's. His grabs are definitely annoying, especially the fact that he can dig and dodge rages, which is very good against Gigan, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, and all those. I don't know about Godzilla 90s or 2000 or Destroya. I'll have to test those out later. Rodan, okay. Alright, I'm gonna think about this. Rodan's the fastest flyer in the game. He's the only kaiju that can fly, that can actually run and actually do his flight ability. This is definitely more Fire Rodan because he actually has a beam, even though it's not really the Fire Rodan color palette. Alright, and then like his rage kind of sucks. It ain't the greatest, especially if you get like interrupted by something. Like he just spins around. His beam is spammable though, because he doesn't have a Z bunch, so you can kind of use that to annoy people. He can do it in the air like normal. He has kind of like a ramming attack, which can sometimes not work. His grabs are definitely annoying because he gets a little bit of a boost and he jumps. And he does like one of them, he either just spins so many times to throw them, or he'll just toss them up in the air, do a little flip, and then bonk them forward. Rodan's okay, so I'm gonna put Rodan in B tier. Next, and then finally we have Orga, the hardest character to unlock in my opinion. To get Orga, I think you have to, if I remember correctly, you gotta beat hard mode on adventure mode with Godzilla 2000, which is actually really fitting. So I'm gonna put Orga as top A tier. Orga has a spit ability, like whatever it is, stun his opponent. His grab is pretty nice. It's like a long range grab. You can actually, he has one grab where he just tosses you, like he slams you into the ground and he elbows you, and the other one is similar, except like he does it way like he puts so much force in it, you get flying into the air. He has his shoulder cannon, which is nice. His rage is alright. It has an ending hitbox, like the little kind of circle on the ground, which can be very annoying. And like, I'm trying to remember, his down attack, like most kaiju, when they do their down attack, it just flings you into the air, so it's like an uppercut. But Orga's like the one that kind of just slams into the ground, like with his hand. The way to kind of send someone like forward or upward is just to use his back one, where he uses both his hands. I think what's really pushing him, I think if I'm like not mistaken, he's definitely slower in this game than he is in Save the Earth, because in Save the Earth he's definitely one of the best. I think Orga does have some high damaging attacks. He can take a while to get used to though. It took me a while. I remember thinking he sucked, but like until I started playing him. He's not bad though. I'd say he's top of A tier. And I think that really just wraps it up for this entire tier list. So we have Anguirus, Megalon there, Rodan, both the Godzillas, Orga, King Ghidorah, Gigan, Mecha Ghidorah, Kiryu, Heisei Mecha Godzilla, and Destroya. Yeah, I think that's just gonna wrap it up for this tier list. What do you guys think? If you agree, disagree, tell me down below. If you disagree, that is fine, because everyone's got their own opinions, everyone's got their own rankings. And if you do, like, agree, yeah, that's also fine if you want. This is just my own opinion, my own rankings. I haven't really touched this game in quite a bit, because I don't play it that much. I'm way more focused on other games and stuff. But revisiting it is not a bad time. It's definitely really nice. This game is definitely one of the best Godzilla games out there, and probably the best Godzilla fighting game out there. It's tied with that and Save the Earth in my opinion. I'm saying Save the Earth is better because like you don't need like Kiryu on like the Japanese exclusive. There's like Jet Jaguar, Mogira, like Anguirus, Baragon, Mothra, Space Godzilla. Godzilla 90s and Godzilla 2000 were different in that game, and like 90s ended up being like one of the best. And like Mechagodzilla 2 got nerfed. Kiryu was a pretty average kaiju, at least in my opinion. and then Orga became very strong. And the beam clashing was a thing. There was also Biolante in that game. Like, there was Batra, Biolante. Batra was an airstrike, like Mothra airstrike. Biolante was finished, but she was cut due to licensing, like, I think it was licensing issues, something like that, if I remember correctly. Like, she was fully complete, she didn't have a rage, but it's said to be, her rage was probably like Mothra's, where it just healed you. Like, it just healed you just a little bit. And kind of like Rodan in this game, she had placeholder roars like with Baragon and Destroya, and Rodan, sometimes you hear Anguirus, like when you're playing as Rodan in this game. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this tier list. See you guys later.